I mean, Con O'Neill is a gift. Like, he's just...
Con O'Neill is a gift.
Con O'Neill is a gift.
I loved him from the first moment he hit the screen the first time I watched it.
I think there's something to be said about like the first like actual moment that I loved him was his delivery of Izzy in response to Iggy. Like, I think there was something about it that I was like, you're the human in the Muppet world.
It's emotional devastation time. We have been gut stabbed. We've been hung. We've been marooned. We've been pinned to the mast because we found out the shocker of the century. Our Flag Means Death Season 3 is allegedly canceled. I say allegedly because I refuse to believe. I am currently in the denial and bargaining stage of our grief.
Amen.
And an announcement that came unfortunately timed, as this group of us have been planning the Our Flag Means Fanfiction podcast for a few weeks now. And this week we were finally set to record it. And then we heard the news. And then I was in my depression robe underneath my pillow for like days upon days. But we're going to carry on anyway, because regardless of what happens with the show, and I do believe it will get picked up eventually, fan fiction lives on. And based on what's happening in our Flag Twitter right now, folks need fics more than ever. Just today, like a few hours ago, Cobalt August on Twitter asked, is anyone even reading fics right now? And like there were like 300 replies. Like, yes, we need it. We need fics. We absolutely need fics. So welcome to our inaugural episode of the Our Flag Means Fanfiction podcast, where we're going to talk about the show, the characters, and our favorite Our Flag Means Death fics. This show is all about positivity, creativity, unseriousness, and ideas being generated. My intention is that after you listen to the show, your brain will be exploding with hundreds of new creative ideas, and you'll dive into your writing or your art or whatever you're doing, jazzed and pumped and ready to go. And if you aren't a writer yourself, this podcast will hopefully rekindle your love for the greatest series of all time and point you to all sorts of new fics that will leave you entertained, laughing, horny, whatever. What do you guys like to get out of your fics?
An E rating?
Yes.
Yeah, spice is always a good time, you know? I'm not going to say no to it.
We are all polite menaces here. We talk it through as a crew. We turn poison into positivity. So no critique or criticisms here. This is just about celebrating what we love. And if there's something we less than love, then we're just going to not say anything about it. But the reason that we all came together here is because of love. I tell people that I have never, ever loved a work of art made by humans as much as I love Our Flag Means Death. And my theory is that we are all drawn here together by a vortex created in the universe to bring down Warner Brothers Discovery. Sorry.
I thought we weren't talking about things we don't like.
But the positivity is bringing down a major corporation. That's the positivity right there. No one can say that that's a bad thing.
Burn it down.
Burn it down. I got to introduce you guys at some point. I wrote all this stuff and then I'm like, I'm getting too late to introduce you guys. So I'm stoked to introduce everyone here tonight. It's going to be confusing because there's two people named Carly here. We have Carly Del Saavedra, who is Southern Hemisphere Carly. Shall we go by Carly D? I love that. It sounds like a drink.
Hello, I'm Carly D.
Yay. And Carly D is known as the founder of the WGA Fandom Love on Twitter and Our Flag Means Strike, which leveraged the Our Flag fandom during the writers and actors strikes and did all sorts of great things. What you accomplished so much this summer. What did you do this summer?
What I did this summer, written by Carly D. S. The strike support was definitely the biggest thing. Being able to and having the privilege of being able to get up there from San Diego every other week or so, from the beginning of the writer's strike through to the very last day of the actor's strike, was probably one of my most incredible experiences that I've had. And I've had a lot of fucking experiences. So,
Lacey, you're going to love the introduction I wrote for you. So Lacey Bond is famous for making the Con and Samba nipple video, which the
Hero.
Con and Samba
You're
nipple
welcome. You are welcome.
Stop. You are famous.
Lacey, explain the Con and Samba nipple video just in case anyone doesn't know what that is.
Okay, so I released that after the strike had closed because I didn't want to pull focus, right? But I was on the picket line outside of Warner Brothers, which is where our flag show was made, season 1 anyway. And Con and Samba both happened to be there, and so I caught them for a bit of a chat about the strike afterwards. But then obviously, if you're familiar with at all with the interview style of this cast, things can quickly branch out into random directions. So we were discussing height differences and how Con has always felt tall, which is where this is the origin of like tall energy, Napoleonic energy, which was something Con said came from. But that despite always having felt tall, he was on this cast where there's so many big boys like Samba and Christian and oh my gosh,
Taika's
David
pretty
Kane.
tall.
Yeah, so and he was like, yeah, I'm used to being really tall, but like with all these guys, I stand up, and he faces Samba, and his eyes are eye level with the upper third of Samba's torso, which is where the nipples reside. And so he's like, I'm nipple height with everybody. And then they devolved into a brief exploration of those and how that was still a good view. And that's the Con O'Neill nipple video.
And it's the reason I reached out to you and wanted to be friends with you, because obviously I saw just the preview video of that, which was not the nipple part, but just like, you were there when Samba and Con were there, and there was no reason for me to not be there. I was in the office that day just because I'm in the office on Tuesdays for no reason. And I saw my friend Bree sent me your photo or video of Con and Samba, and she was like, are you at Warner Brothers right now? And I was like, no, I'm in the office. And she's like, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I missed it. And then I found you on Facebook, and this is what I do when I'm extremely jealous of people. I'm like, let's be friends. We
got so much traffic on the Temple of Geek Instagram from those videos. I was like, so heads up, guys. You're gonna get some new visitors. I'm a contributor for templeofgeek.com, and I'm gonna be the host and face of the podcast this year.
Yay!
Hey!
Congratulations!
Thank you. So I was doing, I guess this is a natural segue into, I was doing coverage of the strike for Temple of Geek starting at Comic-Con, because our main focal area is cosplay and fan culture and entertainment news in that order. And so I was like, hey, so our audience is really going to want to know, with the promotional restriction that SAG-AFTRA has for its members, and has, at that point, it was not clear like what level of requesting, but they were requesting that nobody else promote struck work, which is everything was struck work. Right. Like 99% of what everybody consumes was struck, because the major studios make all the content now. But my editor was like, well, there's this press junket. Do you want to go to that? And so I hauled, what's the rating of this? Can I say ass?
Oh yeah, you can say whatever you want.
I hauled ass from one end of the convention center hotels to like a hotel on the other end where the junkets were, and attended that in Loki cosplay.
Yeah.
By the way, I was like, hi, I have a question for the cosplayers who are very supportive of the artists. I'm like trying to look as professional as possible, but I'm wearing a version of Loki that's like the 2019 Loki t-shirt that's like green and white, and it says low key on it, and a hat that says trash that I've sewn gold horns onto. So, I mean, yeah. So we were able to get a little bit of clarity on that then, and then I was doing coverage of the picket lines themselves, and interviewing folks for the Temple of Geek social media and stuff. Yeah, that's how I got super involved. And I happened to be at WB that day, and I was like, the corner of my eye, I spotted them, and I was like, those guys,
Ah.
those boys, those pirate boys, I gotta talk to them. And so
Yeah.
I did. And then there was a couple of videos that were, I think I ended up, there's basically like 3 videos overall.
Are you, by the way, are you wearing a depression robe right now?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let me show you the fit.
Since this is a podcast,
No one can see.
We have to record it. Lacey is wearing a shirt that says Gentleman Pirate and is wearing the signature depression robe, which is the pink robe with the birds and the foliage on it. And wonderful. And Lacey has blue hair as well. And so congratulations. Thank you for being in character for this.
You're welcome.
And Katie is the last person here. Katie Loopy Danger Frog, known as Loopy Danger Frog on AO3, is a narrator who does a lot of amazing podfics of our favorite Our Flag Means Death fan fiction. Katie, what have you been up to?
Hi. So literally right before this, I was actually just recording Wave Hello to the Void, which is mxmollusca, Zacharybosch, and eefaevie, a Mothman cryptid fic, which is very fun. But nothing fun strike related.
Nice.
But just trying to keep the collaboration alive in the podficking section of the world.
Awesome. So everyone is represented here today. We have lots to talk about. And I'm Carly Heath. I'm a writer in Los Angeles. And my claim to Our Flag Means Death fame is this week. I commented on David Jenkins' Instagram asking him if he could, I know he can't talk, he can't say anything, but if he could just maybe blink twice, if there's any chance Our Flag Means Death could end up on another streaming service or as a movie. And what happened was that David liked that comment, but he did not like any other comments on that thread of comments. Someone screenshotted the fact that occurred. It went kind of viral on Twitter and the fandom sort of erupted over it. It was a glimmer of hope in an otherwise despairing time. And people were saying, Daddy sees us clowning, but he hasn't told us to stop. And that's when David Jenkins changed his Twitter bio and Instagram bio to Proud Pirate Daddy. So that was me. And I'm like so happy because I made Our Flag Means Death the fan crew weekly wrap up. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But you know, our flag, like it bleeds out into so many other aspects of our life. I'm primarily, for most of my day job, I write speeches, and a great example is I was writing a speech for the World Economic Forum coming up on Tuesday, and I wrote it all about Our Flag Means Death. Of course, I did not say Our Flag Means Death, but I feel like anyone who is watching that speech will be like, is this about Our Flag Means Death? Because it's about the consolidation of media conglomerates and how we can potentially see a future where diversity and representation is dying, is getting, destroyed, because these huge media conglomerates are just after things that are going to be franchises, and we're just going to see the dominant cultural narrative mirrored unless we do something, it can't continue this way, because things are going to get really, really boring really fast if we just let all the media in the world be dominated by 5 companies, or maybe in this case, it's getting down to like 3, right? So we got to switch into something really positive, because we can't go down the spiral of doom on this podcast. That's my rule. It's positively only. So quickly, before we really start diving into fic, how are you going to celebrate when we find out that season 3 is actually happening after all?
I'm gonna get a drink.
Get a drink. I want to go dancing.
Yeah, dancing's a good one.
Go do some gay dancing somewhere.
My social media is going to be so annoying I'll just
Mhm.
my social media is going to be Steed Bonnet. It'll be 500 pictures of Steed Bonnet on Twitter and Instagram. People are going to be unfollowing me left and right. I'm going to be so. We are talking about Izzy on this episode. We've been talking for weeks about this is going to be the Izzy episode where we delve deep into Izzy and why we love him. And I'll be the first to admit that my first watch of season 1, I was a hardcore Steed girl. And so Steed was the character that drew me in. And I did not like Izzy on my first initial watching, probably like the first 10,000 times I watched season 1. And then probably on the second 10,000 times I watched season 1, I was like, wait a minute. I actually kind of like Izzy. He's for me, he grew after multiple rewatches and also following Con O'Neill on social media. At what point did you realize that Izzy was an awesome character and that you loved him?
I mean, Con O'Neill is a gift. Like, he's just
Con O'Neill is a gift.
Con O'Neill is a gift.
Put that on a flag behind an airplane. Con O'Neill is
Skywrite it.
On Friday the 19th over the WB studios.
Oh, every time he posts a selfie with his dog, dear God.
Cooper may actually be the real gift, if we're being honest. Not that Con isn't a gift, but this is look. It's a Cooper Stan account in this house.
Yeah. All right. By proxy.
By proxy,
We'll
Cooper is.
tolerate
Yeah.
Con O'Neill.
What was the moment for you that you were like, this Izzy character?
I loved him from the first moment he hit the screen. The first time I watched it, like I think
Such a
he's just like,
Scorpio. I love that.
Yes, in a very ed centered Scorpio. I enjoyed my first meet as being just like super crabby. Like, he was the perfect balance to like this extra fluffy silly world. Because I've met so many bitter and jaded queers over my lifetime that like are perfectly encapsulated by this bitter and jaded little man who just like is a hissing little feral cat that I just want to pick up and squish. And yeah, loved him from the first.
He's like a little scrunkly Blorbo, right? Like, he's a wet cat. And I love him. I think there's something to be said about like the first like actual moment that I loved him was his delivery of Izzy in response to Iggy. Like, I think there was something about it that I was like, you're the human in the Muppet world. Got it.
Yes.
Like, it was literally that moment that I went, understood.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. And from then on, you're the Michael Caine, the Tim Curry to our Muppet Fest that we're about to embark on.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Brilliant metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just like a slow thing. I've never been like, I didn't have any strong negative feelings towards Izzy. I was just like, the antagonist. Okay. Got it. But just kind of through osmosis of fandom, which includes fanfic and cosplay, because one of my friends that I made through the fandom is an Izzy cosplayer. Just kind of gradually, and obviously Con O'Neill, because having such a ridiculously charismatic actor playing the character and who's also so active and engaging online and in panels and stuff, the confluence of those things, just kind of gradually I was like, oh, cool. And then the big one with fanfic was Model Moth's Hell or High Water, which is a super long and tragically unfinished for reasons that don't need to be delved into right now, but like amazing Izzy-centric fanfic that just did such a great job of like looking at his character, because this thing's like 40, 50 chapters long. Gives him
and
this
massive
whole arc.
chapters.
Massive. It's
Massive
so
chapters.
well written. I've been reading fanfic a long time, and it's one of the best pieces I have ever read. I wish I wrote it, but no, Moth wrote it, and I bless them for it. And that was just kind of like, oh shit, like this is so well written, and so like it matches really well the characterization that we do see in the show for season 1, because it was written after season 1.
And they've done some really amazing fics post season 2 where I'm just like, oh, I wish this is what we would get, but get into that when we get into that. So I think it was Hell or High Water for me.
Yeah, Hell or
That's
High
fair.
Water. For those anyone who's listening who hasn't read that fic, it's extremely it's very richly written, almost like a historical fiction novel. It feels like a literary historical fiction novel. It feels it's very deep. It's very Baroque. There's a lot of emotion and angst, and it's very much unlike anything that I've read in fan fiction.
Yeah, I want to sort of amend the unfinished bit. Moth wasn't able to finish that fic itself, but they did actually provide a final chapter that had a synopsis of how it would end. And it was so good. I was like, oh my God, I would happily have read another 30 to 50 chapters of this if you'd been in a place where you could write it. But I'm so happy that they did give us like the closure because of that. And another thing that this fic has is spice, and it's so well written. Like the erotica in that fic is so good. Like the build up, the execution, the energy is just like chef kiss. I filter exclusively for E-rated fics on AO3, so I don't really read Gen ever. But like that's my personal preference. I know it's not everybody's.
That's a good
No, rated E is my comfort zone.
That's a good little segue for everyone. What type of fics do you seek out when you're reading, and then like how do you go about finding those fics? Start with Katie.
So I am a little OCD. So any rec that I see that I think is interesting, I tend to bookmark on AO3. So not bookmark, I mark it for later, and then I actually pull all of my data to an Excel and track it in the Excel so that I can filter it that way, just because AO3's filter system is fine, but it's not like my favorite thing. So it's easier for me to just filter that way. What I look for generally is your girl is a modern AU baby. I don't love living in canon land. So that is pretty much one of the prerequisites of mine. Not that I don't read canon, but I tend to read more modern or just AUs in general. Carly has seen the depths of my spreadsheet problems.
No, and I salute you, my friend. Salute you.
She's dirty in the sheets, man. Let me tell you.
And Carly,
unmute my mic to come laugh.
Carly, what's your approach to finding fics, and what do you look for?
I kind of just run in there like a monkey on crack, and I just grab whatever like everybody else is tossing my way and tear my way through all of it. I love E. E is my favorite rated fiction. And lately it's been all Ed and Steed. Like just kind of like I just need them to be in love in every single universe all the time, and I don't mind the angst. Like the angst is definitely part of the show, so like it kind of drew me in, but I need the fuckers to be happy eventually, and yeah, that's my comfort zone.
And Lacey, what's your approach? So you go for the E as well. How do you find fics, and what's your approach to like reading them?
So I have 2 ways, 2.5. Mainly I go into whatever fandom it is. I use Archive of Our Own almost explicitly. I've tried to use Wattpad, but I can't get my account set up. I don't know why. I'm 33 and I don't know how Wattpad works. So I'll filter for a ship that I like. I'm typically more of an in canon or canon compliant or missing scene type. Sometimes I like modern AU. It kind of depends who wrote it. I read a really great modern bakery AU with Obi-Wan. It was so good. Obi-Wan is my favorite.
Yeah.
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 Inappropriate use of the Force, by the way, as a tag on AO3. One of the most primo tags. Anyway, so I'll filter by like relationship I want, because if you're not familiar with AO3, you can filter by rating, warnings, categories. Is it het? Is it gay? Is it fandoms, characters, relationships? You can include all kinds of stuff. Like you can search for slow burn. You can search for enemies to lovers. It's very robust. It's like Salesforce, I feel like, because I'm a corporate hoe. Salesforce is very robust. It does a lot, but the usability is like a learning curve, and it's just sometimes is so much. So anyway, I'll go in there and find what I like, which is typically, canon compliant ish. And then once I find, stuff that I like, I'll usually subscribe to an author. And then from there, I have a lot of subscriptions in my email. My email is basically just an AO3 bookmark dump. I have in there.
Yep.
And occasionally I have to go in and delete everything that's not E-rated because I'm sorry, I'm just not interested in that. And there's no way to only sub to explicit rated stuff. Because there's explicit, mature, teen, and gen. And I just don't fuck with it. Low in E rating. I really like that you can sort by the default is date updated on AO3, but I like to sort by kudos or comments because then you can see like what's popular. My favorite is the broom closet one. The Ed Steed broom closet one.
That was a really early.
Oh, the close quarters.
Close quarters.
Yes, thank you very much. I think Close Quarters is the one that brought me into fanfic. I was like,
yeah, that was the first one I read. Yeah,
I was in Facebook and it kept like not letting me in because I didn't have an AO3 account. So I got like the little teaser and I wanted more, and it was like so fucking frustrating. And that's how I came into fanfic.
Yeah,
because I needed more smut.
I want to know how all y'all got into fanfic.
Well, I like years ago, I was really into X-Files fanfic. And so that was a long time ago. And then I, haven't been for years. And then our flag came along and I went to Rosie, who will eventually be on the podcast. And Rosie was like, you should read Close Quarters.
Everyone should read Close Quarters. Everyone. You don't even have to be in this fandom. Sometimes.
Okay. And I was like, this is amazing. I love this so much. This is like the show, but it's like written down, and then there's like a little sexiness to it. So I just started reading, and then I just started writing my own, and boom, like just the creative outpouring. This summer, I wrote 120,000 words of fan fiction.
Wild.
Just like in between like lunch breaks and whatever, get done with my work early, just going to write some fan fiction. And then boom, I basically wrote 2 novels worth of fan fiction. By the way, I am Yavid Jenkins on AO3. So YAYVID_Jenkins, like David Jenkins, but yay, the Jenkins.
My AO3 is the same as my Twitter, and I don't want nobody following me on Twitter unless you're down for the E rating.
But Loopy Danger Frog.
Meanwhile, I'm like, yeah, no, please.
Yeah.
I'm happy to share with personal friends my username and even my AO3 history, but not the general public. I'm sorry, you have to befriend me and win my approval first.
You have to know, yeah.
Okay,
there's some very adult hoops you need to jump through.
Yeah, that's true.
We want to talk about get really deep into Izzy and talk about Izzy and what we love. What do we love to see in our Izzy fics?
Okay. I mean, I think what we saw in season 3, with just a growth, an arc, like a redemption arc of some kind. Because I see him like in season 1 as just like this broken, traumatized little feral critter that just needs to be understood. And I know that he's made some like really bad choices in season 1 that led to almost deaths of our people, but like he needs fixing. And I like to see that coming through.
Yeah, he's the screaming raccoon, right? Like he like yeah, like Izzy, I think it's important in the fic that to me that Izzy is not villainized and has some form of arc, unless he's serving a specific purpose to just be like, I'm grumpy, brr, brr, brr. And then that's fine with me, right? But like if it's like a centered on him fic, I don't want him in just villain town. Like there is more depth to him than that.
Yeah, I really loved what season 2 did with his showcasing Izzy's expertise as a sailor, and that
Yeah.
whole montage of him coaching Steed, I just loved it. Steed and Izzy's relationship in season 2 made me so happy, where I was just like, these boys. Like, Izzy's opening up, he's, expressing respect. I wanted to see Izzy sail away on the Revenge, him and Frenchie co-captaining, which Moth wrote a couple of really great pieces around that, and they were scrumptious. They're so healing to my soul.
This is me in Delulu land. May all your delulu come trululu, because I firmly believe there's going to be a season 3, and Izzy is going to be in season 3 alive. I am of the belief that Izzy will crawl out of the grave.
Hope so.
If you're, for you guys, how do you foresee when there is a how I'm saying when there is a season?
Yeah, obviously.
What do you foresee Izzy showing up in season 3?
I'd like to think it was like a fake burial, and he's actually on the ship.
The Moth approach.
Oh, I haven't read that one, but yes.
Oh,
yes.
shit!
I'll run with it.
I'll see myself out.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
I promise you, I want all of this, so like I will take every spoiler just to have more. So keep it going.
I am a big fan of Izzy crawling out of the grave, and also a magical realism approach to Izzy coming back. I've written various season 3s, and I think my favorite is the Izzy spending time in the gravy basket thing. Izzy growing as a dead guy. Izzy learning things about life and death, and having that life and death struggle, and then coming back to life through a Buttons magical realism sort of woo-woo way, and then bringing his knowledge of the afterlife to the present life, but in his very crusty sort of way. And I love the idea. This is something I keep on repeating in all my season 3 fics, is Lucius crawled out of the sea, but Izzy crawled out of the earth. And so they bond because Lucius survived water and Izzy survived dirt. And they have a special connection now. And that fills my heart with so much joy.
I would love to know, this is a big derailment, but I would love to know like what you think everyone's astrology sign is.
Oh,
I feel like you have strong opinions on that.
Yeah, because you guys know I have the Astrology of Terrible Things podcast. I'm really big into astrology. I think that Steed is a Libra. Maybe it's because I have a bunch of planets in Libra, and I'm like, I am Steed. Steed is me. I think Ed is a Scorpio.
Yes.
Lucius is a part of me is like Gemini, part of me is like Virgo. I kind of lean towards Virgo, Lucius.
Virgo, I support this.
Izzy is I feel like a Cancer, like with his moon in Scorpio or something, or his moon in Aries. Okay, who I went through. Okay, who am I missing? Like I'm missing a bunch of. Oh, Pete is Pete. Gosh, he's got Sagittarius. He does that Sagittarius vibe too.
Little wanderlust.
He's got the Mercury in Sagittarius, which is the big talker. Big talker. Roach, Taurus, because Tauruses love their food. Frenchie, Pisces. Did I miss everyone?
Buttons.
Jim.
Oh, Buttons. Buttons is a Pisces too.
Yeah, Jim and Olu.
Oh, Jim. Jim. That's a tough one.
Right.
Jim.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, part of me wants to go Scorpio.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just
Good for
feeling
me.
an Olu, Cancer, like either a Cancer or a Capricorn. You
Big
guys,
water signs.
yeah,
Big water sign.
yeah. Do you also see that like water sign energy from Olu?
Yeah, I could also kind of get Taurus vibes from him because he's a little grounded.
Yeah,
Little grounded baby, like calm, good calm energy.
yeah. The Capricorn in that like he's would make a really good manager, but but Capricorns are always all the Capricorns I know, they're very like climb the ladder sort of people. And Olu is the opposite of that. Olu's like, no, which also makes me think Virgo, because Virgos are very much like, here's what we need to do to get the thing done in the very logical way. Here's like how I can be supportive in this, but like, I'm not going to be the center of attention. If we had our dream season 3, what 5 things would you love to see Izzy do?
So I think there's like the beauty of him whittling in the season,
Mm.
as his like kind of emotional, like, I'm gonna take this out on this piece of wood instead of everyone else.
That sounds like a
Um,
Scorpio thing.
yeah, I think that like I would love to see him embrace like crafting. Like, does he go to Wee John and learn to knit? Like, we see him go to Wee John to do drag. Does he learn to knit? Does he go to Roach and does he like learn to cook? Like, does he put his like whole pussy into being the like best at everyone else's jobs now because he's already mastered his job? I
Oh,
think would be like a fun like twist with his like aggression energy still in there. You know what I mean? Like to
Mhm.
put it, but put it into like very lighthearted things.
trauma, because creative projects help them through their trauma, as Steve
Yeah.
would say. I love that. I love him being extremely competitive about the crafting.
Him and Jim really, really get into it.
Mm.
I'd
Like
love to
a
see.
knit off or something.
Exactly.
I was gonna say I'd love to see him and Jim like have a scene together where they're
Mm.
both fighting with knives.
Yeah.
Maybe them teaching each other something because Jim and Izzy don't have a ton of scene like I don't think they have one scenes together.
Which is wild because in the BTS videos that we get, like those
No.
two are just
Daddy and Poppy, yeah.
Peanut butter and jelly.
So I love seeing the relationship between those two actors. It's like especially like just like completely different generations and different backgrounds because Colin's, from the UK. Vico grew up here.
I love the idea of contrasts. So I always love the super grumpy character with like the super tiny little thing or like the super feminine. And we haven't yet seen any super, super feminine women on the show at all. And I wrote in like my own kind of season 3 fic, season free. I wrote Steve had to get a crew together to go after the revenge. So he got together like a bunch of people who are working at a brothel. So a bunch of women who are working at a brothel to crew his ship as he went out to go chase after the revenge. And so Izzy has to teach the crew of women how to be a pirate crew. And he's very post death, he's experienced death, he's back. So he's very gentle with them and he's very encouraging. And I would love to see Izzy being patient and gentle, a little crusty still crusty, but patient, gentle, and encouraging with like women, very feminine women, or a baby, or like a small child, or like a little animal, and so you get that contrast. Which
I still want to see Izzy with like, the crispy bits at the edges. And I think I've been thinking a lot about like how there are just a lot of kids cast throughout both season 1 and season 2. Like they're just kind of, kind of beginning of life, kind of like touch bases and all of that. So I would love to see him in season 3 just be almost like just like that crusty school counselor that you love as like a queer kid or a different kid in the school that like Like I want to see him sitting around with like a bunch of like equally angry emo kids, all just like grumbling about life together, but they're all like 13 and 12 years old, and he's like, "Yeah, no, you nailed that one. That's exactly how life is right now."
Who is Izzy when he has a group of friends? Who is Izzy in a romantic relationship?
Yeah.
Who is Izzy when he's just like on his downtime? Like, these are all the questions that could lead to so many hilarious scenes and answers. And something that I've realized writing so much Izzy season 3 is it's extremely fun to write Izzy after he has died and he has come back and he is a different person. He's the same person, but he knows stuff now. And I hope that the writers on the show realize just how fun writing post resurrection Izzy is.
That would be so cool.
I mean, we already have post-resurrection Ed and Buttons in the show, so like,
and in a way,
it's already canon.
Resurrection Lucius, and season Lucius is like the best character. I love that transformation so much. We'll save all that discussion for the Lucius episode that we're going to do. What would we like to see Con O'Neill get a chance to do?
Just more work for Con.
Put him in everything. Put him in. I wrote a little pilot, comedy pilot. It's like a Bridgerton sort of comedy thing. And so I have a character who's a stable boy, former sex worker, stable boy who's afraid of horses, and he's too old to be a stable boy, but that's the job that he had to get, and he's eventually going to have a romance with the Duke. But I'm like, Con O'Neill is going to play this character in my pilot someday.
Oh, I love it.
This mid-50s stable boy who's afraid of horses, who's grumpy, who's trying to make the best of his life. Yeah,
this is an amazing romance novel setup.
Yeah, truly.
Just season 2 gave him such an incredible like range to be able to explore. So I think that the writers really like worked hard to showcase Con O'Neill through season 2 and like the depth of the character that he embodies, but like that full range of all of the human emotions.
Yeah, he did such
Give the man an Emmy.
Really?
That performances this season were so good.
He deserved all the awards, all the awards. It was shocking that that didn't happen.
Are we next Emmy cycle?
Yeah, I think for the Emmys it's next year, but
it would have been this Golden Globe.
Yeah, a thing of how kind of the awards work is it really is up to the companies if they want to push an actor for an award. And if the company doesn't want to push an actor for an award, no matter how much the audiences love that actor, that it won't happen, which is awful.
So adding that to the Zaslav shit list, is that what we're doing?
So my Izzy fic that I wanted to shout out, not mine, it's someone else's. Two things. So get thinking about your Izzy fics that you want to shout out. So I loved Talk It Through Without the Crew, which is a very, very short, like 1,000-word little fic by SapphoWasRight on AO3. And this is a delightful, extremely short fic where Lucius has tried to talk about what he's been through with Pete and others, and they can't handle it. So Lucius has been hanging out by himself on the ship, and Izzy just comes over and sits down next to him. And I'm like, and that moment when I got to that moment, just that little moment in the fic where Izzy just sits down next to Lucius, I'm like, oh, I would love to see this on the show. Lucius Izzy's still crusty. Izzy and Lucius have a little conversation. And I'm like, I see this. I love this. I love this moment. I love that Lucius gets to have this healing that he really didn't get to have on the show. There wasn't really any closure as far as what Lucius has been through. And he got to fully have a therapeutic, cathartic healing from all that. And it's going to take a long time, obviously. But I think season 3, I would love to see you know, the crew kind of assemble around Lucius and like actually like make an effort to heal him through his trauma. But here Izzy does it, and Izzy does it in his crusty way, and it's wholesome, and I love it. My other little fic that I want to talk about is Ruthie was going to be on, but Ruthie's going to be on next week. Ruthie, when the announcement dropped in you turning poison into positivity, Ruthie wrote this spec script of like her version of the finale, which includes a marriage scene for Steed and Ed, and Izzy is a ghost in the spec script. So this is Ruthie's spec finale. I think it's called Holy Matolog. Is that how you pronounce it? Matolog?
I think it's Matelatosh.
Okay, thank you for pronouncing that. Say that again.
I'm gonna check, but I think it's Matelatosh.
Okay.
I'm gonna Google it.
Matolog. How do you pronounce it?
Pronunciation in English. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
While you're
fast.
Googling, how amazing is it that the show brought us like the concept of whatever this is pronounced as, like, to the world? Like, who, like, that would have been lost to history if it weren't for like David Jenkins and a Wikipedia page and his wife like encouraging him to look it all up and bring it to us.
Exactly. Not just, Steed Bonnet and Blackbeard romance, but also the concept of pirates getting married. Love it. So yeah, Ruthie Hansen wrote this amazing spec script that went viral on Twitter, and it's like a finale, and it's brilliant. I love it. I love how Izzy shows up as a ghost, and he's crusty, and he says this great line. This is what Rosie and I so I saw the script and I was like, this is great. I'm going to bookmark it when I have time to read this. But like an hour later, Rosie sent it to me, and they were like, you have to read this. And I'm like, I know, I'm going to. And then after I read it, there's a line in this script that has Izzy saying, "Be good to him, you frilly little cunt." Like he says that to Steed. And I was like, that is the best line. And I copied and pasted that to Rosie. And anyway, I love it. I highly recommend you guys read Ruthie Hansen's wonderful spec script. Okay. And so what are you guys shouting out?
Wait, pronunciation?
Matelatosh.
Matelatosh.
Metellatosh.
Like Mattel-atage. Okay.
Matelatosh. Once more for the ASMR girlies.
I was gonna say, I just need you making a whole video now. Just queer vibe.
I have, I mean, the fics I shouted out earlier, Hell or High Water, Safe Hands, and Good Hands by Model Moth. Like, Moth is the king, the queen.
Safe hands and good hands. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I have a couple of links that I'm about to send in our chat, not in Zoom, but in our other chat.
Okay, cool. Yay. Awesome.
Can we shout out more than one?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're shouting them out.
Okay.
Yes.
So the top one I want to bring up is Would You Worship Gravity, which is
I started reading it. It's very good.
It's an airline AU, Steady Hands, which I think is an important breed for Izzy fics, especially if we're talking explicit. And also Trans Izzy, which I think is an important reference, as so many fics have Izzy as a trans character that it's gotten to the point where when I read Izzy and he's not trans in the fic, I'm like, wait, what? Like, it's just become canon. So that is Bite the Hands. To the Lonely Sea in the Sky by Zai the Spar is Zai the Spari is amazing. That is a canon Steady Hands fic also. It's post season 1. I want to call out the Jawbreaker series by Little Seahorse, which is a not common trope fic. So it's Stone Butch Izzy and Femme Lucius, which is like a delightful little fun flavor. Believe to Love Her is another canon fic, Oops High Date by Oops High Daisy. And that is also post season 1. And it is pretty much Ed and Izzy coming to terms with what their relationship could be in light of Steed being present.
Mm.
And then High and Lonesome, Hard and Strong, I would like to call out by Curio Cabinet. So that is part of the To Steed This Morning universe, which is To Steed This Morning is kind of like a Johnny Cash AU with Ed and Steed. Izzy and Jack are together in that fic, which we love. We love jacked hands.
Yeah.
And so High and Lonesome, Hard and Strong is a little one shoot off of them, but I think Curio Cabinet does a really great job exploring sad boy Jack in light of Izzy being non-committal because he's in love with Ed. So
Oh.
yeah, so that's some of my faves.
I actually had an overall, like, I don't know if it's a philosophical thought, but like,
Love that
I
philosophical.
have like an overall thought about Izzy that came up. Okay, so if you're at all familiar with the therapeutic concept of like family systems or systems therapy, everything's interrelated. You're on a wheel among all the people like in your relationships or in your crew, whether it's family, friends, associates, things, people in close relationships. What I really love seeing in fanfics is the Ed Izzy Steed triangle coming to like having been healed, because rupture and repair is a huge part of interpersonal relationships, especially intimate relationships, with which Ed and Izzy had for like a solid decade before Steed entered the picture, and then a lot of stuff happened. So I really love to see the rupture and repair cycle illustrated in fiction, which again, Model Moth does really well. Like Model Moth clearly understands trauma and has done a really good job with Hell or High Water, particularly like writing trauma healing.
Yeah.
But I love to see the system, a healed system.
Like what it looks
Where
like with all 3 of them healed.
Yeah, and it's something that I really would have liked to see in season 3, because Izzy can retain his crustiness and his opinion that he's like, yeah, Steve, like I think you're a frivolous little silly guy sometimes, but like I also respect you. And I love seeing that in a lot of fanfics that I read Izzy in. Another good one is Don't Tell Mama. It's like a
Fire, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of modern AUs will have Izzy as like Ed's manager, and he's like kind of a dick, but you like see that like, okay, he does legit care about Ed, and he's like, he is trying to protect him. It's just manifesting in a way that is maladaptive. And so I like it when it goes from the maladaptive to the adaptive, and then they're happy. And that's why I don't care if
Yeah.
it was narratively fulfilling to have Izzy die. I want a healed system.
Yeah.
It makes me
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
That's what I like seeing. I just realized that as we were talking, because
That's
as I was
brilliant.
ruminating.
This is where we want to go with these conversations, because Ed got to say things to Izzy in the death scene that I think were really good. But I don't think that necessarily means that Izzy has to be dead. I think it would be much more exciting and much more fun and much more opportunity for, there's so much Izzy can still do that would be really, really interesting and funny and amazing and cool post-death, post-resurrection.
Or even if
biblical.
up until the moment where it was like past the point of no return, when he was like giving Steed shit, where he's like, of course I'm gonna die now. I'm like, haha, that's funny, because they're not gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Because I really thought the genre would buck. The most compelling case I've seen for sunsetting Izzy as a character is that Khan is too expensive. And it's just from a casting and capitalism perspective. And I was like, I hate that, but it makes more sense than half the reasons I've heard.
I don't believe
I don't believe that.
because David took Khan out to dinner, like to break the news, and Khan seemed genuinely upset, and I feel like Khan would take whatever page cut if necessary to keep on playing Izzy.
Valid.
Needed, especially the fan. He is on the side.
He's a huge fan.
Yeah.
He is on our side. So I feel like he would do whatever it takes for us, and he knows that Izzy is an important character. He's
bring Izzy back.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's established in the show that there's so many ways for Izzy to come back. Buttons can turn into a bird. One, it hasn't even been that long. Izzy could easily crawl out of the grave. It could be funny. There could be a whole thing. There could be like, you damn it, you're supposed to wait 3 days. I could see Izzy shouting that. I could see like the horror on Ed and Steed's face. I could also see
they're just eating breakfast one day and just like a fist its way out of the ground in the front garden.
Izzy shows up on the
crumbling earth, like, raining off his
face.
Yeah, he's like, surprise twats.
Wait, did you say the fist coming up with the finger already up? Like,
I didn't, but I like that better.
It's got to wiggle out of the ground first.
And here's the thing, this is the other really thing that's fun to write as hell, is he is very injured because he has that bullet wound. So he is going to need a little while to recuperate. And so Izzy in bed in Ed and Steed's shack while Steed takes care of Izzy.
And say hurt comfort?
I know, right? And Steed brings him these elaborate pastries and beverages on a little frilly little trolley cart. And you know, of course, he's going to put like Izzy on their bed. And so then Steed and Ed are like having to sleep on various pieces of furniture around. And they're also horny. So they're kind of like, oh, we can't like do anything while Izzy's here. So they're like keeping up their pent up sexual frustration that's kind of blossoming while they're taking care of Izzy, which can lead to a lot of hilarious moments. And the fact that Buttons is still there as a bird and he's like pecking on the window occasionally, like just checking in, and Izzy being like crusty and angry and Steed like nurturing him, and then eventually Izzy just having to realize like, I'm just gonna have to lay here and let Steed fucking Bonnet take care of me and nurse me back to hell. Love it. So many things. Steed fucking Bonnet. I'm alive because of Steed fucking Bonnet bringing me tea.
We secretly fucking loves the tea.
I'm just keep going back to like a moment where Izzy has to let himself be cared for. like and just has to like accept being cared and nurtured. I would love to see how Khan handles that scene, and I think he would do it brilliantly.
I just like the idea of kind of Izzy padding around in like the softest of socks and big oversized soft sweaters and holding a cup of tea and just having a peaceful little life. So I think Khan would be fun with that.
I love that.
I'd love to see him on the crew of the New Revenge being a kick-ass first mate, and like I have no idea where that season 3 spec/fic script went because I still need to read it. But like it following up on the thread of where season 2 left off with like, I would love to see the Revenge helping. I can never remember how to pronounce her name because it's so close to 3 other Chinese names that I'm close with. Qingxi. Right? Madam Ching. The anglicization of that word is mixed at best, but like avenging her whole fleet and getting back at Ricky and the British and like having the New Revenge do that, and having Izzy in the context of that, like seeing him get to be a leader who's competent and, you know, continues to love the crew that we had the whole like moment with in season 2. I'd love to have a moment of him like saving Steed, because like, again, but more directly, or because because they're all part of the system and their crew and they love each other and he cares about both him and Ed, and it's not just begrudging anymore. Like, I'd love to see that.
Love this. Cool. And maybe just like he decides to buy a new outfit at some point.
Ooh, yeah.
She's like, you know what? I'm kind of done with the black leather thing. I've survived. I've seen death. I've been there. I want to see what Izzy looks like when he goes into a shop and he's like, I want a different set of clothes. And then he has to stand there and get the tailor to measure him and put him in something else. What color does he pick? What fabric does he pick?
I'm learning so much about you right now, and I need to talk to you about Astarion from Baldur's Gate 3.
Wait, what?
You want a character who has to accept care.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I'll tell you about Astarion.
Okay.
Off podcast.
Okay, what's Astaria? Is that like a
Astarion is a character in Baldur's Gate 3?
Oh, I haven't done I'm not a gamer. I'm sorry.
It's just this character has kind of transcended that genre to the point that like people who don't even game are into it.
I am out of the loop. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll give you a full rundown.
Okay, give me a full rundown. I appreciate that.
Yeah. He's very traumatized and he can't really accept that anyone could care about him. So there's a lot of fanfic about Astarion accepting care and love.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I also have another rec. It's a little dark and a little spicy, super spicy. Not everyone's cup of tea, but it's an Izzy Fang series called Teddy Bear Hugs, which Fang we soft dom Izzy into accepting who they are. So throwing that out there for your love of Izzy accepting care.
I love
and
that.
Fang in the softest of doming.
Yeah.
Sweet Fang.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then real quick before like we go move too far away from the fics, Ochre Resin and Light.
Yes.
Only One Day is one of my favorite steady hands fics out there as well.
Can you give us a little pitch for that?
It is, and maybe Katie, you can back me up on this one because it's been a minute since I read it. But it's the relationship of Ed and Izzy, like 20 years in or something like that, and they're just kind of like in a little bit of a routine, a little bit of a rut, and finding like magic through like fixing up paintings through museum and the work that they do, being the best in their field.
That summarizes it. That's great.
Yeah, cool.
Sounds fascinating. Fantastic.
It's very good.
So switching gears to personal stuff, what are you guys up to this week? I'll go like straight up personal stuff for me. The day after the whole cancellation announcement, I just happened to have a doctor's appointment, and my doctor was like, you're extremely depressed, according to the survey. And I'm like, who is and she's like, well, actually a lot of people aren't. And I'm like, how?
Sounds fake.
It sounds fake. How? Yeah. I cannot imagine
fake news
what it's like to be a person, a human being in this world and not be depressed. Jesus. And
like, are you not paying attention?
But this doctor seemed very like non-player character. Like I was like, wow, I'm just like not relating to anything that you're saying to me right now. So we talked about meds, and so I got a prescription, and I have the pill bottle on my counter, and I'm a little scared of taking it. Because that was something I told her. I'm like, I'm a creative person. My job is creativity. And I do not want to risk numbing myself to my feelings, because my feelings are what I do. And that's how I do my thing. But I could use focus, because I have been very unfocused lately. So, but on the bottle, they're like, if you have suicidal thoughts, then stop taking this and go to the ER. I'm like, well, that's scary.
Keep an eye on it. Maybe keep a journal of just like general mood for the day. So you can keep track of it.
Yeah, I've been doing the calendar, like making a smiley face well, not a lot of smiley faces lately, but making a frowny face when it's a bad day, and I'm making a straight face if it's just kind of a day.
Yeah.
Mostly it's straight face, frowny face day in my life over here.
I found personally, it varies from person to person, that it does help quite a bit with mood, and Wellbutrin tends not to dull feelings to the same extent that other drugs in that class do. Like Cymbalta will dull your feelings. It'll just take the edges off of everything, which it can, it's just a balance of weighing that with the other, like the effect with the side effect.
How about the world just change? How about we just, honestly, I wouldn't take anything if we could just do away with capitalism.
If we could cure late stage capitalism,
If we could just end capitalism, just like guillotines for billionaires, done, CEOs, anyone making over like $1 million, we're done. You would just get, you have to distribute your wealth to the masses. No one's poor and homeless anymore. Bam. Yeah, I think it's the riding my bike to work and seeing all the people who don't have homes, and all the sad people in the world. And this does not need to be happening in the 21st century.
I love that. I can't remember the words of the meme exactly, but the one where like you get to, $1 short of $1 million or $1 billion, and you just, you get a plaque that says you win capitalism. We name a small park after you, and then everything post almost $1 billion goes to charity, like goes to building up our society again. Because outside of that, like you're just sitting on it like fucking a dragon on gold. You don't need it. The world needs it.
I saw another meme that was like, it's surprising that billionaires don't just solve climate change for the narcissism of it. Wouldn't you love just the narcissist claim, like, I saved the world, I solved climate change, that's my claim to fame, I saved the world. You can tout that, you can give yourself the Nobel Peace Prize, fantastic, but just do something good, even for narcissistic reasons, billionaires who are listening. In the meantime, I'm taking meds to avoid having too many feelings about the state of the world right now. And
I support you in that decision, and just keep us posted about how it goes.
Okay.
Feel free to message me at 4 a.m. if you can't sleep, because I'm probably awake.
Cool. Actually, I usually wake up at like about 4 a.m. and I start writing. But I'm a go to bed at 9 type of person.
Just know that it's going to disrupt your sleep schedule for a while, and then it will even out.
Okay, cool. Good to know. So yeah, and creatively, I am writing more comedy pilots. That's what I'm doing. I'm just like writing 30-minute comedies. That's where my brain is at the moment. So we'll see what eventually happens. What's going on with you guys?
I have had calls about my disability status with my doctor and my HR benefits. I'm on long-term disability.
That is awesome. I hope more people can go on long-term disability and are able to. I think that's important. I
do too.
More available, and I think more people need to go on it.
And you've been fighting for this for a while, so yay for finally.
Oh, I've been on. Yeah, it's an ongoing saga. Right now, honestly, my goal is to hopefully secure the possibility of not losing my job, because I'm outside the FMLA protected range. FMLA only protects your job for 12 weeks, after which your company can eliminate your position. And it gets a little squishy around whether that's discriminatory or not. But I work for a large company with a lot of legal resources. So I'm working on figuring that out. I have chronic hand pain. Katie, I think you're the only one here that hasn't encountered that with me. So working on a computer is very challenging, and assistive tech is also challenging. So
Bad. It's not good.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Trying to rely on it, and then being like, yeah, no, I can't actually do that thing because you can't make a PowerPoint.
It doesn't
without using your hand. Like, I can't do that. Like the muscles work. I can move the mouse and I can click it, but it's going to hurt me. It's a whole fucking thing. And that's why I'm trying to pivot over a little bit into developing other skills like podcast hosting and
Yay, I'm proud of you. I'm
Thank
proud of
you.
you for
Journalism for you, because I love every interview you've ever done. So please
yes.
continue.
You're a great journalist. You're
Oh,
great.
thank you. Man, none of you are BG3 fans, so I can't brag about this thing.
I mean, you
Uh,
can. I just
mean,
won't
yeah.
know what you're talking about, but you're more than welcome to brag
Oh,
about it.
someone who a voice actor that I interviewed somewhat recently that I met through the strikes, reached out to ask if if my outlet would be interested in a project that she's putting together. And she's like, yeah, it's gonna be me, Neil Nuba, and this other person. Neil Nuban is the voice of Astarion, and Astarion is like everyone's fucking meow meow right now because Neil is such a great voice actor. Someone else from Temple of Geek got to interview him at the Game Awards, and I was so jealous. Because like, oh, his work with Astarion was so good. And so I can't express to you how fucking rad this is. Like, yo, you had me at Neil Nuban. I mean, I'd be interested in this project anyway, but like, he's rad, and he's very sweet when he's interviewed. And just like the breakout success of that character was really cool. I think he got a big award in the game. The game got like Game of the Year, and he got an award at the Game Awards and had a very sweet acceptance speech and everything. So I'm just like, I would be so stoked.
I'm so happy for you that you get to have that experience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a really cool short film concept about the Malleus Maleficarum, the witchcraft book. And the well, so I'll keep you posted about, what's going on with that, because right now I think it's in conceptual stage. But yeah, I'm gonna talk more with Temple of Geek this week about how to do the podcast this year, because I have some ideas for like regular cadence, getting guests, integrating our film reviews, because we have that as a regular feature that I'm like, okay, we could do like every other week, maybe review, and then me, and then we all get a bank of interview guests. So if there's people that you want to see on a podcast, tell me, and I can see if I can get them as a guest.
Restar me, please.
Neil Gaiman.
Con O'Neill. Restar me.
I'd love to get them on the pod. Yeah.
Or all of us. You could do a podcast about our podcast.
Do a podcast about fanfic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, an intro guide to fanfic would be cool, especially like the usability features of AO3, because it is very cool. Like, come from the fanfic.net days and the like decentralized like ofmenandelves.com, councilofelrond.net, like my OG days of fanfic. Yeah, actually, I have a concept now. Okay, I have a concept. We're gonna do just like an episode about fanfic, and I do want to delve into how each of us got into it originally, because like for me, like my first fanfic was like Lord of the Rings, 2003. My first spicy fanfic, I stumbled across Aragorn and Legolas.
Nice.
Yes. I was like I was like, what is this? Because again, I grew up super Christian, super fucking Christian school my whole career. Graduated from Biola University.
Oh wow.
2011. Yeah, top 3 most conservative schools in the country, right up there with Liberty and Bob Jones. We weren't allowed to wear spaghetti straps, you guys.
Wow.
College students.
We had a distraction.
Heaven forbid your collarbone show.
Your brothers in Christ. I'm like, my brothers in Christ on the cross country team are running around in nothing but tiny, tiny shorts. Like, do you think that doesn't stumble me? Oh, I'm a woman and I don't have a sex drive.
Not until you're married, and even then, only one required.
I did my senior thesis at school on how silence around sexuality was a problem for women. Can't believe I got an A.
Oh wow. And at the Christian school you did that? Good for you.
Yeah, the assignment was to do a counterculture. Everyone like expressed something counter to the dominant American culture. I was like, watch me do something counter to the Christian culture at this. I conducted primary research. I worked with a sexuality educator who had this like heartbreaking index card box full of questions that she'd gotten from like girls at like youth groups, and just like, so much lack of information and
Mhm,
undereducation. And yeah, so I basically did, like, from a biblical worldview, why that was a problem. The number of chapels I went to about, like, men and their sexuality struggles,
Right.
and God, I'm so glad I'm not a Christian anymore.
Yay.
I don't know if I can publish that.
No, it's great.
I'm so much happier now, though, you guys.
I am so proud of you. I mean, it's like I have the same thing, Laura, where I was chasing heterosexuality for whatever so long, and I'm like, I am so happy that I woke up and I realized I was not a heterosexual. Oh, like, you know, and I'm so proud of you for realizing that you're not a Christian. And when people like break out of the brain, the brain, what is it?
Cognitive dissonance,
Cult.
brain fog,
Brain
Brain melt.
brainwashing.
brainwashing. Why couldn't I think of the word
Programming.
brainwashing? I wanted to say like brain
Social
cloud. Like,
conditioning.
that's not the right word. When people break out of their own brainwashing, it's so I celebrate you. Congratulations. I mean, that's a lot, because a lot of people will be all the way in their 50s or 60s and then realize, wait a minute, I have been married for 40 years to someone who is extremely boring, and my life is kind of boring, but I'm too afraid to break out of it. So anyway, I think it's just really important.
Look, I'm feeling really attacked right now, and I need
No,
you to-
I was talking about you, Carly. You broke out of it too.
Oh.
We all, it seems like, in a little way, broke out of our, our things that were restrictive, And you weren't married for 40 years.
27, but you
Yeah.
know what? Whatever.
In today's standards, that might as well be 40.
Be 100 for
Yeah.
I was actually just thinking of like other people who I'm like, oh wow, you're gonna be married forever and you are not happy, but you're just gonna stay married because that's what you do, and that's sad,
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah. Katie, so everyone has talked about what things they've broken out of. Katie, what have you broken out of in your life?
Oh man. I would probably argue the sexuality trope. I'm now an openly bisexual.
Yeah.
Welcome to the team.
Thank you. And I think the show we were on the journey and the path to get there already, but the show kind of was like, no, just rip the Band-Aid and like talk about it to people in real lifetime,
Yeah. What we haven't talked about is what the show means to each of us, because it has affected our lives in profound ways. I say it changed my brain chemistry and it made me, it rewired my DNA. So Lacey, how has it changed you? How has it affected you?
Ooh. I mean, it brought me to some really wonderful people. Like, I've made some great friends through this show. I think that would be the main way. And I love it when a show is so beloved by people that, like, you just have like so many fun conversations about things that you wouldn't necessarily otherwise in just kind of like a, I don't know, a casual relationship. It's like something that pulls people into each other. That's what I really love.
Yeah.
Good.
Legit.
Alrighty, so we are going to wrap things up. Guys, it's tough out there, so everyone focus on self-care. I say to all the pirates, my DMs are open. As long as you're not a creep, my DMs are open. We can talk about things. I'm always happy to heal people over the show. But we also got to fight Renew as a crew on Twitter and Instagram. They're doing a whole Renew campaign, so
they got 5,000 signatures. Something like ridiculous.
50,000.
No,
50,000
today.
Oh, just today.
Today,
Nice.
theyarechange.org got 5K.
Oh,
4,500. They're at 48,000 signatures right now. They got 4,635 signatures today. Yeah. So it's keep going. Keep pushing it.
Daddy Jenkins is behind us. He said so in his way that he can do that. So there's lots you could do. You can comment on all of Max's social media posts that they do. Just say, please renew our flag means step. And you can donate to things, and you can also just follow the socials on Twitter and Instagram for more ideas on things that you can do to help renew the show. And until next time we'll either be talking about Roach or Lucius. I haven't decided who, but whoever. And if you want to be on a future episode and talk about a specific character and fics that you like, just DM me and we'll have you on the show. So any final words, guys?
Be kind.
Hola.
Be kind.
Kind.
Be polite menaces, but be menaces.